Welcome everybody to the Braid and Tinker Podcast. My name is Melanie and this is a video podcast mainly about knitting and sometimes about other things, but mainly about knitting. Oh, there's a cat trying to get in. Let's just ignore that part. You can find me on other places on the internet. On Instagram, I am Melanie Knits. On Ravelry, I am Braid and Tinker. On Etsy, I am braidandtinker.etsy.com. I think that's it. Oh, and I'm on Twitter these days. So if you want to find me on Twitter, I'm also Braid and Tinker on Twitter. Let's get started. I have 2 finished objects this week, which is who are you and what have you done with Melanie. So last week I'd finished one of the Happy Camper mittens. I think I'd finished the right hand one, and I finished the left hand one as well this week. I knit these in less than a week. One of the reasons it was so fast is because I chopped the tops off really and have turned them into fingerless mittens, which is easier for me because I cycle quite a lot and it's just easier to grab the handlebars, grab the brakes, do the ding dong thing, the bell, and fiddle with your keys to get the bicycle unlocked. So this is a finished pair and I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep these for myself because I really do like them, or if they're going to be a gift, but I think I might keep these for myself and then knit another pair as a gift because I think the pattern is very, very cute. I really like the sort of like campsite aesthetic. It just sort of like evokes this very homely, nice atmosphere, you know, sitting at the campsite, outdoors, having all, you know what I like about camping? It's all the gear, because it's also like practical and like brought down to like the bare minimum. And for some reason I really enjoy that part. So I really like going to like outdoor stores because they have so much of that stuff that is like, this is a pan, but you can also use it for a gazillion other things. Or these are matches that won't die if they get wet. Like, why aren't all matches like that? That's brilliant. Like all that sort of like amazing stuff, you can always find that at the outdoor shop. So I really, really like that. I don't really go camping very much because I just don't really have the opportunity to, but I do like it, you know, for a couple of days, not for a very long time. I think most Dutch people, if they go camping, we go camping to the south of France in summer, and a lot of people take like a camper van or a caravan, mostly a caravan. And they try to bring as much stuff, like food stuffs from home as possible. And it's always like a joke if you, like, I think it's like the 1st of August is like the busiest time of the year on the roads going down to France. And most people have like a small white caravan hooked up to their car, and you know that they have filled it with potatoes because that's what they enjoy eating. You don't know what they have in France. Fancy French stuff. We don't like that. We like our own food. So I like fancy French foods, but most Dutch people don't. So these are the Happy Camper mittens. The pattern is actually for a regular closed mitten. So if this is not your bag, but I really like to have like these fingerless types, except for like 3 weeks when it's really, really cold, and then I need to have regular mittens. But for the most part of the year I actually can get away with these. I just stopped knitting at the top of the mountains, I guess, and then added a little bit of ribbing. And I didn't even do like a stretchy bind off because this is quite high up my hand, so it's like fine. This is not, doesn't need to, I find if you do like a stretchy, super stretchy bind off, in some places it just makes the ribbing way too loose and kind of defies the purpose of the ribbing. I do like a stretchy cast on the cuff, because I feel like a cast on can be like way too tight, and you kind of need the stretch here because it needs to go all the way over like the fattest part of your hand. But this part only needs to be like at the tips of your fingers, so it doesn't really matter. And the same for the thumb, because the tip of your thumb is not the fattest part of your thumb, honestly. If it is, you know, sorry, I apologize. My second finished object I am actually wearing is the Mount Pleasant tee. Let me just stand up. It's a cropped tee with lace at the bottom. So yeah, it looks a bit like the ever popular Tenure sweater by Caitlin Hunter, who is Boylan Knitworks. And I'm actually thinking about knitting a Tenure, but the Tenure is, the sleeves are a bit longer, the body is a bit longer, and the lace panel is a bit longer. This is like very, very cropped, but I think it's really nice with like over a dress, over like a high-waisted skirt or something like that. You can, even if you're not super slim, like I'm definitely not, you know, you can totally get away with it. I knit this out of Blacker Yarns Lyonesse, which is a linen wool blend in a DK. And it's a bit, because this pattern requires a fingering weight, this is a bit much. It's quite dense, but I actually quite like it. I think it will hold its shape quite well. And I really like the neckline. I didn't do a stretchy bind off here either. Just, I'm always worried that the neckline will start to sag when you wear it a lot and after blocking and stuff like that. So I just made sure that I could actually fit my head through, and then just made it quite tight. Actually, this has zero give. It doesn't matter because it fits over my head and that's fine. I don't need it to like have droppy shoulders or anything like that. So yeah, and I think this yarn was, if you're looking for this colorway, I think it's the Serpentine color. It's kind of like a browny purpley heathered color. It's very pretty and I really like it. It's not very soft. It's not like rough or coarse. It's just, I don't know, it's just not like smooth like superwash merino is. It has like little bits that stick out, and might even be a bit prickly for some people, but I'm actually okay with it. And most of it is like, because I'm wearing this over a dress, so most of it is not actually next to skin, except for the sleeves. Well, who cares about that? And I really, really like the lace panel. I think it's really cute. Because it's so super cropped, it's a very, very fast knit. So, you know, you're done quite quickly with that. So that was it in terms of finished objects. I think I might actually knit this again in a fingering weight, because that's what the pattern is for actually, although I think this actually works fine. I knit this in a large, and I guess in a fingering weight I might go for the extra large size, but because I knew this was going to be slightly bigger because of the weight of the yarn, I was like, yeah, Also, a lot of it is like you start at the bottom and you knit upwards, and it just gives you like an amount, like centimeters, knit until 13 centimeters or stuff like that, and then do this. And so gauge is, I find, slightly less important with that, because you will get more fabric in the width, but I find that doesn't really matter with a cropped thing. Although obviously you don't want to have it like super wide, but I guess it's just like the kind of style that you're going for. Anyway, so that was it in terms of finished objects. In terms of whips, I am still working on my Winterfjell sweater. I had started ribbing last week, and then I did I just put it on to fit, and I had so much more knitting to do, so I had to take the ribbing out. Fortunately, this is a Rauma Final yarn, which is quite a rustic yarn. So what I did is just pulled my needles out, yanked the whole ribbing out, and just sort of found my stitches again and put the needles back in, because something you would never do with a superwash merino, because it would just slip and slide and you would lose all your stitches. But with these like rusticy type yarns, they just kind of stay in place. I lost a stitch here and there, but you can easily pick them up again with a crochet needle. So that was a lot less of a headache than I thought it would be. But it's been so warm, I have not had the desire to knit on this at all. It feels very warm, which is, its purpose, because this is for winter, but it's a bit much to knit on, really. I am very ready to get this off the needles. I have been a little bit indecisive when it comes to deciding on what project I want to work on next. So I've been doing a lot of like finishing projects, like this sweater, just to sort of like, I don't know, like cross them off my list or something. Sometimes I think my method at the moment is just cast on a lot of things, but when I cast something new on, I knit a lot of it so that I can put it away safely and know that when I pick it up again, there is already a substantial amount of knitting done on that project, and then it doesn't feel so bad to like pick it up, do some work on it again, put it back down, and then I can swap out projects. And also then when I want to finish a work in progress, I can pick it up. And then, really, sometimes you kind of have to power through something. But if there's already a substantial amount of knitting done, that's not very hard. And then, you have these weeks where you like finish one thing after the other. But that also means you have weeks where you just feel like you're casting on one thing after the other. But I've just been having issues with deciding on what I want to cast on next. Just a little bit of indecisiveness. I have lots of projects that I would like to knit, but I don't know. Some of them are quite larger projects. I would really like to cast on the Midsummer Rose shawl in Liner magazine. It just feels like it's I think it's something I would really like as a product. It's just going to be a lot of work because it's a massive lace shawl. Do I feel like doing that right now? I don't know. So I might cast on something. I feel like I need to cast on like a bunch of smaller things. So I did that last night. I cast on something small. But then also I feel this sort of garment bug because I've knit this now and I've got the Winterfjell sweater. I kind of feel like I really like knitting garments. I would like to knit a cardigan, but then what cardigan? And what kind of yarn am I going to use for it? And I have a ton of yarn, but do I have anything that is very suitable for it? And then these are like things that are going through my mind at the moment. So yeah, I'm just super indecisive, and I think I should just pick something and go with it. You know, the worst thing is if you don't like the project and you start something and then decide something else is, you know, that you would actually have preferred to start something else, that's fine. You can just shove it in a project bag, shove it somewhere in your workspace area, whatever, where you store your project bags, and just leave it for a little bit and start on the other project. There's no like, knitting should be fun. There's no like knitting police that says you are only allowed to have so many projects. I had a ton of rules, I think, when I started out on this podcast adventure with I can only have 2 projects. I can have a sock and something else. But yeah, sometimes you just feel like, but actually there's something else that I'm working on is not for me at the moment. The weather is not suitable for that project, or I don't have the headspace for the complexity of that project, or something else like that. So I know. Yeah. I sometimes I think I should just pick something and just run with it. One, or do I like make a list of all the things I have, like projects in mind, where I already have the yarn for it and I can just like knit from stash, and you know, then I would feel great because I've done it in a orderly fashion and I'm knitting from stash. But this sounds so boring and it's not really like me, so I think I'm just going to grab something later on today and cast on. So I'm still working on my secret socks. It's a sock pattern I'm working on. Blah, blah, blah. I can show you this because it'll look very different once you put your foot in it, I have noticed. So I've started gusset increases, but not many yet. So I guess this is halfway done. These are probably going to be shorties because, yeah, I love shorties. They are perfect for summer. They are fast. They are fantastic. I wear a lot of Converse All-Stars, and shorty socks are very comfortable in that. So working on that. That is housed in my Mrs. Brown's bag sock sack, which I love. Really, really love. Such a great little project bag. Fantastic. I cast on like a tiny thing yesterday. One of my stepsisters is pregnant with her second baby, and I was inspired by Hannah of the Corner of Craft. I think her podcast is called the Crafty Chat Podcast. If I'm wrong about that, I'll put the correct thing here. But she's been knitting like a bunch of flax light baby sweaters for just to keep in stash, and then if one of her friends has a baby, she can just like have a sweater, have more because I have a stash. But they look so flipping adorable, and also it's a one skein project, so it's really fast. So I decided to cast one on. And it's this. I've just separated for the sleeves. So this is like I guess one evening and one afternoon for me. I could have knit faster, but I'm also entertaining a toddler, so I'm just knitting the smallest size. This is my hand-dyed yarn. This is the banana milkshake for breakfast colorway. I think it's so cute in the baby sweater because it makes the baby look like a baby banana. I love it. I really like the flax pattern by Tin Can Knits. It's a yoke raglan sweater with ridges on the shoulders that help with the shaping, because garter stitch is a bit stretchier than everything else. There are no short rows, so it's very, very, very straightforward. This is the light version of the pattern, meaning that you can knit it with fingering weight. I think the regular version is worsted weight. I knit one of those for my son, but I think I really, really like the fingering weight version. Very cute. So this is going to be shipped off to the UK once it is finished. It's in my blue fringe bag. So yeah, that's it in terms of projects. I have my bus socks, which I showed you last week, but I haven't really knit much on those. They're still, and the thing about the bus socks is they're in my backpack for work, and then I can knit on them when I'm in the bus to work, when I feel like knitting. So the bus sometimes makes me feel queasy, so I don't always feel the need to knit, but sometimes I feel fine, and then it's nice to have like a little on-the-go project with you, you know, like an emergency sock. That's it in terms of knitting. So you see my dilemma. I really need to cast on something else because I don't feel like I have enough projects on the go at the moment, and I don't really want to work on socks. It's too warm for the Winterfjell sweater. So I've been working on the baby sweater, but that thing's going to be done in about 2 days. So yeah. I think eventually I'll be just so bored and I'll just cast on something, not thinking about it, which is probably the way to go anyway. I don't want to stress myself out about knitting. It's not enjoyable, but yeah. And this big bag of yarn, there must be, like, why am I not like thinking, ooh, this is a great idea, cast on, done, next one, cast on, you know, oh. I think the warm weather has affected the decisiveness of my brain. I'm just kind of slogging along, and yeah, that's what happens. I did buy something. It's not super knitted related, but you have this brand of pattern magazines called Burda. They usually do clothes, but sometimes they have like an accessories edition, and I really liked it because it has like a ton of bag patterns, and I think like on the first page it has like this little pink boho bag. Isn't that adorable? So I thought, fine, I need to get that. It's cute, and who doesn't want to have a pink golden pineapple backpack? I do. I probably won't find that, but there's like a ton of like smaller bag projects that you can use for project bags. So yeah, so there's like a ton of stuff in this, so I can totally recommend this magazine. I think it's a European thing though. It's it was €7. I think this is like super German, which is a little bit annoying because they refer to, like, if they have like this fabric, it's like, oh, it's from German online shop. So yeah, you could get it, but then have to like get it shipped from Germany. I guess that's not super expensive really, but don't really feel like it. So I really need, if somebody has like a really good sort of like inspiration thing, like my brain now is like, I see so many Tegnas or Tenyas by Caitlin Hunter, and I have the perfect yarn for it. Because I bought this in Brussels last week. Was it last weekend? I think so, yeah. And then I bought this because to make a Tenya, but like, do I cast it on now? Or because Caitlin Hunter has this other pattern called the Sipila sweater, which is like a color work yoke, but it's short sleeved, it's quite summery. So I could also, thinking maybe doing that. Oh, actually, now that I see that together, yeah. So this is the things that happen in my mind. I'm like downstairs and I think maybe this is a great color combination. Now that I see it, I think no, it's a really dumb idea. Okay, so I think this is going to be Tenya, but then also I have this. I really, really, really want to make a giant fluffy shawl. I have so many shawls though, but I really want this. I just wish somebody else would knit it for me because I don't feel like it. I have so many knitters problems. It's insane, but the good news is, like, I've been having a lot of problems with my ball winder and it has magically started behaving itself again. Like all my balls are perfect, and I had like a little bit of yarn bath with the banana baby sweater, but only like a little at the beginning. It had like, I pulled it out and it got stuck and I was like, oh no, because you know what happens, it gets stuck and then you pull it out and then you pull out almost the entirety of the ball and it's like yarn bath everywhere, and then you're like stuck with a mini ball. You have like a sub ball sticking out of your normal ball problems. Anyway, so but this was fine. It was just like a tiny bit I could knit, and now it's all fine again. So I don't know, I think I was just so unhappy with my ball winder and it got me frustrated and angry, and that sort of maybe affected the tension at which I was ball winding. I don't know, but it's like good again. So anyway, that was it for this week. You will see me again next week with either grey shawl fluffy project or a Tenya. It's a cliffhanger. I'm ending on a cliffhanger. You think I'm like, I planned this. I'm not that clever. Don't worry. I'm just putting it all back in the bag. I could just knit something completely different. Who knows? Who knows? Just I really like that I've gotten into garment knitting now, and it's, I don't know, it's like when you start learning to program and you can make a website and you're like, holy shit, I can like make it, and I can make it the way I want it, and oh, now I understand. It's like somebody sort of like lifted the veil. The same thing with garment knitting, really. You know, as soon as you get like into it, you're like, oh, I can make any type of garment I like in my size. That will be perfect for me, in the fabric I like, in the color I like. Why isn't everybody doing this? It's fantastic. The reason why not everybody's doing this is because it takes quite a bit of work, but oh well. I think that was the end of this rambling. I hope to see you again next week if you haven't all unsubscribed by then. Yeah, see you again. Bye.